Hi, my name is Alex and today I'm gonna make a mini ITX system on a budget in 2022. I've made a list of parts that I'm gonna list for you now. These parts have been chosen carefully with upgradability and performance in mind. And here are they. For the motherboard I've gone with an MSI H510 Pro and this is how it looks like. It's a pretty looking ITX board. It has black and it has a black color with some gray contrasts, which looks quite nice. It's an LGA 1200 board with an H-type chipset, which will limit its features quite a bit. But for our use case, it's gonna be just fine. But it still has the features we need. For example, the M.2 Gen 4 slot. It's actually a Gen 4. But there is no M.2 on the back, so no Gen 3 option, which means that if you want to have an M.2 in this computer, you will have to go with an 11th Gen processor, or else it will not be accessed. We have a Gen 4 PCIe Gen. We have a PCIe Gen 4 slot here for our GPU, which could fit any modern type GPU, and two RAM slots. These RAM slots are rated at 3200 megahertz. They will not go above that. For rear I/O, we're looking pretty good. These are all USB Gen 2, and these two blue ones are Gen 3.1. This is Wi-Fi. This is Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connections. Here is our HD audio. It's still a pretty cheap ITX motherboard. It came in at around 1,400 to 1,600 Swedish crowns. Correct translations of these measurements will be found on the screen somewhere. But yeah, it was pretty cheap for being mini ITX. There was cheaper options, but then we would sacrifice way too many features, and I wasn't ready to do that. For the CPU, I chose the i3-10105, and it goes pretty amazingly with the GPU. I will show you later. It is pretty underpowered, but it's fine for our light gaming and office use case. If you want to have a slightly better CPU in this PC, I would recommend going with a i5-11400F. It will unlock your M.2 spot, and it will also give you a great performance buff. I got this processor for around 900 Swedish crowns, and it was between this or the i3-10100F or 10105F. The difference with this is that it comes with 0.1 gigahertz more for the same price, so it was pretty obvious I would pick this. And we will be cooling this processor with a stock cooler to spare some money for the rest of the PC. For the RAM, I've gone with a 2x8 kit. It's from Corsair. It's their Vengeance models. It comes in at 200 megahertz and it's pretty much optimal for gaming these days. 16 gigabytes and 3200 megahertz. I would totally recommend going with 2 sticks instead of 1 stick, because the performance boost is absolutely worth it. When DDR5 becomes more of a standard, it's easily upgraded to 32 gigabytes. Just get a new kit. I got these for 800 Swedish crowns, which is I would say expensive. I couldn't get a discount, but it's what I got them for. For the drive, I've chose the Kingston 480 gigabyte by 2.5 inch model. It's mostly because we can't fit an M.2 in this. If we could put an M.2 in this, I would. There is 500 gigabyte versions from Kingston, I think, for around 600 crowns, which would be great. But for example, if I went with the 11400F, we could do that. But now the M.2 slot is locked, so we'll have to go with a traditional 2.5-inch SSD. The benefits of taking the SSD route instead of going to hard drive and just upgrading to the M.2 later, it's because it's not that much more expensive than a hard drive and it performs way much better. Why I chose this in particular was it's cheap. It was around 400 crowns and it's from a brand I'm well known with, Kingston. I usually buy drives from them, USBs, M.2s and SSDs. For the case I've chosen the Fantex Eclipse P200A. I've actually built the whole computer around this case in particular because of its cheap price. It came in at 800 crowns with 2 fans included. It's a very good step for ITX systems in general because now we could actually get a ITX system that has a case that is below 1000 crowns, which hasn't been possible until the arrival of this case from what I've seen. For the power supply, I have gone with a TX550M. It's a great gold rated power supply from Corsair, and it's rated at 550 watts. And it's also a reason for why I chose this to build this PC. I had this laying around, it was low wattage. I was like, let's build a budget build. It's also great for light gaming. Some 3050s fit within this rating, and you could upgrade later on. The thing that's not great about this power supply is the price. It comes in at 800 to 1000 Swedish crowns. It's not a good deal for this rating. You can find the RM750 for around the same price. You basically get more wattage from the same price, so I really wouldn't recommend this. Now onto the GPU. This is a GTX 1050 Ti from Asus. It's a Strix model. It has great cooling and it's a little underpowered, to be honest. It's rated at 300 watts and it has 4 GB of GDDR5 memory. It's a bit behind. Very much behind. It's still good for light gaming and esports titles at 1080p. AAAs and more heavy games, you probably have to go down to 720p, but for people who just want to game, it's not a problem. As of February 2022, this had a 3rd place on the Steam hardware survey, which means that people are still using this. It's the 3rd most popular video card, so it will run most titles fine. But as I've said, this is a more esport focused type thing. I've done a cine benchmark of this PC where I got a score of 1097, which is what it should be for this price range. Also did a heaven benchmark. I'm running on 1440p and default settings and I got a score of 1011. And the average FPS was around 40 FPS. That's all for this PC. If you liked the video, subscribe and stay tuned for next PC build. Thank you.